Good evening, dear Medyascope viewers. Welcome to This Week in Turkey. This evening, our guest will be retired Ambassador Rafet Akgünay, and we'll be speaking about the rising tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean. But first, let's take a look at this week's developments. President Erdogan has announced on August 21st that Turkey had discovered a large natural gas reserve off the Black Sea coast. The discovery was conducted by the Fatih drill ship, which had been carrying out exploration operations around the Tuna 1 sector in the western Black Sea for the past month.
In Erdogan's good news announcement on August 21st, the amount of gas discovered was said to be 320 billion cubic meters, and that he's planning to extract and use the gas by 2023. If the gas is confirmed as recoverable resources and can be commercially extracted, the reserves could facilitate Turkey's energy dependence to Russia, Azerbaijan, and Iran. Accordingly, Turkey's financial burden due to the extreme dependence on costly energy imports can ease down if indigenous production can be achieved. Last year, energy imports costed Turkey $41 billion. Turkey has conducted the biggest natural gas finding of its history in the Black Sea. This reserve is part of a much bigger source. Hopefully, much more will come. There will be no stopping until we become a net exporter in energy, said Erdogan in his announcement from the Dolmabahce Palace. Minister of Finance Berat Albayrak also spoke from the Fatih drill ship through video conference, stating, "We will remove the current account deficit from the agenda of our country." Minister of Energy and Natural Resources Fatih Dönmez also commented on August 22nd that we are expecting a serious reduction in our imports along with this discovery. We are creating the infrastructure for our citizens to be able to use natural gas with much less economic costs. However, analysts say that it is too early to tell if the announced amount will refer to the total gas discovery or that it is extractable. Head of the Chamber of Petroleum Engineers Working Group, Necdet Pamir, has evaluated the details of the discovery and whether it can be put into service on the targeted date to Medyascope on August 23rd. Mr. Pamir commented that, after drilling a well, long-term testings are necessary in order to see if the reserves are economically beneficial in the long term. More testing wells need to be drilled for pressure gauging, reserves extension, and value. After evaluating various parameters, you need to decide to what extent the reserves will be economic through looking at the current natural gas prices and predictions for the coming years, and make the ultimate investment decision accordingly. For this drilling operation, we still have estimately 1,000 cubic meters to go. More wells need to be drilled to get to the targeted level. So, as a petroleum and reserve engineer, I do not find the 320 billion cubic meters data valid. I am not implying that there hasn't been a gas discovery or that the operations are not important. I just think that it is too early to announce such a number and keep repeating it.
As Turkish and Greek navies conduct drills in the Eastern Mediterranean, Germany continues its efforts to mediate dialogue between the two neighboring countries. German Minister of Foreign Affairs Heiko Maas visited Ankara on August 25th and held a press conference with his counterpart Mevlut Çavuşoğlu. Following Çavuşoğlu's statement that Turkey is open to dialogue with Greece, Turkish naval forces issued two NAVTEX alerts on August 27th.
Turkish naval forces issued two NAVTEX alerts on August 27th, one for extending Oruç Reis drill ship's exploration activities to September 1st, and one for conducting gunnery exercises at two different points in the Mediterranean Sea. Simultaneous naval drills were conducted by Turkey, Greece, and Cyprus on August 26th in the Eastern Mediterranean. France also joined the aeronautical military exercises, codenamed as Eunomia, with Italy, Greece, and Cyprus that are scheduled to run from August 26th until August 28th off to the south of Cyprus. President Erdogan reiterated on August 26th that Turkey is determined to protect its rights in the region when he attended a commemoration of Malazgirt victory in Muş province. During his speech, Erdogan stated the following: "We will take whatever we are entitled to in the Mediterranean, Aegean, and Black Seas, and we will not make any concessions. If Greece wants to pay a price, let them come and face us. If they don't have the courage for it, they should stand out of our way." Erdogan's such comments are based on the two countries' conflict over determining maritime boundaries and offshore energy rights in the Eastern Mediterranean. As part of Germany's efforts to ease tensions between two neighboring countries, Germany's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Heiko Maas, visited Athens and Ankara on August 25th to engage two countries to have direct talks. During Heiko Maas' visits to Ankara, two countries' foreign affairs held a joint news conference where Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu gave the green light to start a dialogue with Greece. "We are open to talks without preconditions. We are in favor of negotiations for fair sharing but nobody should lay down preconditions, said Çavuşoğlu at the conference. On the other hand, Maas underlined that the escalating tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean is not beneficial to anyone. We have addressed the dangerous situation. It worries not only the EU, but also NATO allies. I think what is important now is to be ready for sincere dialogue. I hear the readiness for dialogue on both sides. This can only be achieved through direct dialogue between Greece and Turkey, Maas commented. Medyascope conducted an exclusive broadcast with public international law experts Yunus Emre Açıkgönül and Nicholas Ioannidis on August 27th to discuss the Greece-Turkey tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean. The host Edgar Şar posed the question of how the two parties should proceed in order to avoid tensions and to find a peaceful and equitable solution from a legal perspective. Yunus Emre Açıkgönül answered with the following statement.
In terms of the resolution, I agree also it should go to an international adjudication or arbitral tribunal. It could be ICJ. But what I see challenge is, apart from delimitation issue, there are other matters. Now it is a bigger discussion due to sensitivity or national emotions involved. For example, Cyprus issue. So it's a huge issue. Before resolving Cyprus, or Turkey recognizing the Republic of Cyprus, or Greece recognizing Northern Cyprus, how parties will go to an international court of justice. And it might result in recognizing Greek side for Turkey, which is against its long-standing established foreign policy.
This evening, our guest is Dr. Rafet Akgünay. Dr. Akgünay is a retired ambassador. He's also currently teaching at the International Relations Department of the Middle Eastern Technical University's Northern Cyprus campus. Good evening, Ambassador. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
So a number of naval drills are underway in the Eastern Mediterranean. Turkish and Greek leaders vow that they will defend their overlapping territorial claims in the region as German foreign minister seeks to bring both nations back to the negotiation table. Tensions have been on the rise for a while now. Dialogue is alluded to, yet many major steps are being taken, which, on the contrary to dialogue, are leading to more escalation. Ambassador, you started your professional life as a junior career officer in the Department of Cyprus and Greece Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1977. And then you worked in various postings in Nicosia, in Athens, under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs between 1980 and 1985. So I'd like to ask you, what lies behind the tension in the region? Perhaps it would be interesting to take a historical perspective in order to understand the crisis that is ongoing today. Has Turkey always had these goals in the Eastern Mediterranean, or are these new initiatives related to the Blue Homeland Doctrine, perhaps, which became an official policy in 2019?
Well, actually, it is it's not only Turkey taking some new steps. If you look at what had been happening since Greece, I mean, you asked me the historical background. That's the reason why I'm going so far. Since the Greek independence, Greece always tried to infiltrate into Ottoman Empire and acquire new territories, be it land or sea, through islands, until 1922. And it was only in 1922, when we had our independence war, things changed a little bit. However, after the Second World War as well, the Dodecanese Islands, were given to Greece by the Allies at that time. And after that, there were some periods which are rather a little bit more calm in the relations between the two countries. But there was also, there had always been a problem deep inside. However, all these problems have been, except Cyprus, have been solved through diplomatic and legal means. Therefore, there is a expectation from there is a ideology in Greek side to acquire new territories here and there, including sea. And the Turkish side, Turkey, is trying to stop this growth against its own interests. So what we are seeing right now in Eastern Mediterranean is similar to that. It's something similar to that. But it must also be seen that in recent years, in 1974 Cyprus issue, afterwards when we had Aegean Sea continental shelf dispute, when we had the Hora incident, and then afterwards when we had the Kardak incident, all these things, Turkey stood firm. And I don't see any government that would be flexible to lose this blue homeland or whatever it's called. Now, then you can ask me why this has been going on right now. Since 2000, as you know, we have been having some problems. But these problems are mainly regarding to the domestic issues in Turkey. Since the AKP government, the present government came to power, their focus was rather, in a different way. I don't want to enter into domestic politics right now. Until 2017, 16, 17, 18, until this infamous coup attempt by Fethullah Gülen terror organization, the things were different in Turkey than now. Until then, the response of Turkey was not as strong as it should be. And in this framework, I have to stress one fact, that the bureaucracy, be it military bureaucracy or foreign ministry bureaucracy, was rather neglected by the government of Turkey. And especially in foreign policy, you need to know your lesson. In other words, you need to know the history, you need to know the international law and international relations. You can be a good professor, but diplomacy is a profession which is, that one should take into account the experience as well. If you don't have enough experience, if your memory is short on history, then you may make some mistakes. Now, coming to the present problem, coming to this present situation, in Eastern Mediterranean, as you know, the explorations showed and proved that we have natural gas in some areas. Israel, Egypt, some parts of Cyprus, southern part of Cyprus. There, in all these areas, we have gas. This gas, or this area, was tried to be, and they are still trying to do that. Was tried to be the delimitation was foreseen by the littoral states, and these littoral states did not take into account the fact that Turkey has the longest coastal line in these areas. It is a fact. It is true that Turkey is not a party to the Law of the Sea Convention of 1982. We did not sign it. However, this convention is, in a sense, in most areas, customary international law is based on customary international law. It's a codification of customary international law. And customary international law, which we are really good, takes into account the length of the coastal states, as well as the 1982 convention. And it's also taken, the islands are also, given some rights and some half rights, not all full rights in many cases. And in diplomacy, in international relations, in international law, there are several examples of the decisions taken by the courts, international courts, or through arbitration or otherwise, and the agreements signed by the littoral states, giving half a right to, none of them, almost none of them, say the islands have full continental shelf, etc. Now, what's happening right now, I'm coming to this, Turkey is a late comer. We have lost so many years until 2016 or so many years to take serious steps to show our interest in the region. When we have started taking serious steps, this came a little bit late. Let me put it this way. This came a little bit late. Turkey has, asking nothing from the sovereignty of the other countries. And don't forget, even today, Turkey has not declared the economic zone yet. And we have agreements with Libya to share, but this area, after Greeks and the Egyptians signed the agreement, now it overlaps with that. We have Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, and we, as a guarantor power, we have to take into consideration the rights of the Turkish Cypriots as well. So it has become rather a complicated issue to delimitation of this area. And when we are doing that, one should not forget that we are at the limits of what we can do as Turkey. Therefore, turning this diplomatic and legal issue, political issue, into a sort of a military escalation is not to the interests of any country. And it is very interesting that the third parties, especially France, is rather playing the cards of Greece, which is very dangerous. And they should have taken lessons from, as we should have done that too. They should have taken lessons from history. When you start playing the cards with the third parties, you are up to lose. In other words, we have to sit and we have to talk. Now, Turkey, in the last decade or so, has lost a lot of friends, not only globally, but especially locally. In the region, there is almost no country that Turkey is in good spirit, in good dialogue, and so on. Mm-hmm. So we have to repair this primarily, all right? And Greeks and the Turks and the other countries, not only the Greeks and the Turks, because Eastern Mediterraneans have so many littoral states, we have to sit and discuss. So by extending your territorial waters to 12 miles, which you know that Turkey has, especially in the Aegean, Turkish Parliament took a decision back in the 1990s that it will be, well, even before, that it will be a casus belli, in other words, a cause for war. you can't go anywhere. And in the past, we had, during the Hora incident or before, we took this Aegean continental shelf to the Security Council and to the International Court of Justice, etc. And the recommendations were sit and talk. We need to sit and talk, but unfortunately, the things are escalating, still escalating. It's very dangerous. Do I expect a clash? No, I don't hope and I don't expect. But one should not forget that at the end of the day, it's only one person and it's only one bullet which may burn everything in the region.
Yeah, burn the bridges, yes. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for contextualizing the current tensions in the Eastern Mediterranean, as well as demonstrating how Turkey has shifted its policies and its approach to the Eastern Mediterranean starting 2016, and finally taking perhaps a stronger stance over there. I mean, just in terms of preventing escalation, and you suggested that both parties should talk more and come to the negotiation table. Perhaps you've seen this as well. The German defense minister told the European Union's High Representative for Foreign Affairs in an off-record discussion in Berlin just yesterday, a couple of days ago, that the attempt to smooth the relations between Greece and Turkey was very hard, a little bit more easy on the Greek side, but really hard on the Turkish side. So there's really this kind of perception that Turkey is being aggressive and unreasonable here, perhaps due to the sudden shift in its approach to the region. But do you think that there's a possibility of sanctions, or rather a different foreign policy actions against Turkey in order to solve the crisis in the Eastern Mediterranean? Because, I mean, as you know, again, Turkey is alone, as you said, and, we have France, we have the UAE, we have Israel. On the side of Greece, let's say, will they be able to convince, let's say, other nations such as Italy or Spain or Malta to agree to take steps against Turkey? And what would that entail for Turkey's claims in the region?
Well, if you look at the history, your experience, you'll see that it is not possible to force Turkey to do something, or any nation, through sanctions. An extreme case, nothing like that. Cuba. I mean, Cuba is still there. And in our case, after 1974, as you know, the United States imposed an embargo on Turkey, sanctions. Did it work? No. And it's not Turkey is not a small country. And we can be more flexible. And this doesn't mean, I'm not saying that, of course, we have to be flexible to avoid the sanctions. No, just the other way. If sanctions comes, Turkey may take some other steps. In 1964, when Johnson sent the letter to İsmet İnönü, at that time, İsmet Pasha, and that was the heydays of the Cold War, said Turkey can change the sides. Therefore, we have to everybody should be cautious and careful. And coming to the first part of your question, I do not expect a sanction on Turkey. Of course, the Greeks and the Greek Cypriots would like to see that some steps to be taken against Turkey. And they have a good leverage, which is EU right now. And only yesterday, they threatened EU that they will veto the sanctions against Belarus, as you know. And the same happened, we saw the same film before, in 2004, when the Annan plan was accepted by the Turks, and the Greeks said no to that. In those days, there were some, promises given to Turkey, and before that was Greek Cypriots going to be a part of EU or not? Were discussed, and at that time, Greece threatened EU that it would veto the enlargement of the European Union. And that time it worked. Well, the same game, will it hold this time? I doubt it. I mean, in EU, it is not only, we are not talking about one EU nowadays. France and Germany, do they have the same approach? Or Germany, are they willing to talk and establish dialogue? Whereas France sending illegally international law, this is Cyprus is has a different status. They are sending planes and ships to here. This is against the international treaties. So Italy and France and Germany. And if you look at the, we always underline in Turkey right now, the Greek fleet, the ships are having joint exercises with the United States, with Italy, this and that country. Just take United States and Italy. The same ships and the same countries are carrying out similar exercises with Turkish ships as well in the Mediterranean. So the situation is different than before. Therefore, I don't think that these sanctions will come into the picture. The best thing that these two sides, the old sides, not two sides, we are talking about Eastern Mediterranean. Now we are focusing on Turkey and Greece. They should come together. They should sit and discuss. And I think this would be the best way if we can establish a conference, call a conference, establish I don't like to use the word, but a group of wise men in our relations.
Yes, a group of experts that could potentially come together and
Exactly.
provide incentives to de-escalate the tensions before.
Exactly. I mean, we have to be creative. We have to be wise enough, because Greece and Turkey are, probably the oldest countries in this part of the world. We have to be wise enough and creative and cool.
Ambassador Akgünay, thank you so much for your insights and your recommendations.
Thank you very much for having me. And I hope we'll be together again in good days.
I hope so too. Thank you so much. Special Sergeant Musa Orhan, who raped İpek Er in the southeastern province of Batman and eventually caused her death by driving her to suicide, has been released 1 week after being arrested, despite a forensic medicine institution report stating that İpek Er was subjected to sexual assault.
Musa Orhan's release came after his lawyer Mehmet Erkan Akkuş objected to the arrest, ruling on the grounds that his client is not a flight risk. An attorney of İpek Er's family, İlyas Tarım, revealed that one of the reasons for his release was that the sexual intercourse was consensual. İpek had attempted suicide on July 16th after being raped and lost her life on August 18th at the hospital where she was treated. Following her death, a social media campaign was launched for the arrest of Musa Orhan, which led the Siirt First Heavy Penal Court to issue an arrest warrant against him on August 19th. He remained behind bars only 6 days. Social media users once again are calling for his arrest. A letter written by İpek Er states that Orhan told her, "No one can do anything to me. I did this countless times, but no one was able to do anything. Go complain about this wherever you want." For months now, women in Turkey have been campaigning for women's rights and the upholding of the Istanbul Convention, while the Central Executive Board, dominated by male AKP members, has been considering withdrawing from the convention. Hideous cases of women being abducted, killed, raped, and subjected to violence occur on a daily basis. The AKP's policies that protect men via granting them impunity is the main cause behind the situation, critics say.
Flash floods in Turkey's northeastern Black Sea province of Giresun have killed 9 people. 6 are still missing.
Floodwaters caused by unusually heavy rainfall dragged debris and vehicles along a road, leaving them buried in mud, footage from the province of Giresun showed. Residents were seen clearing streets as construction machines lifted debris. Several roads have been blocked due to overflowing streams, while power outages were experienced in various parts of the region. Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency said in a statement that 157 people had so far been rescued, with efforts from nearly 1,000 aid workers. It said efforts were underway to reopen 83 roads, adding that agency had sent 9 million Turkish liras in emergency funds to the region. Rainfall in Giresun had exceeded averages for the month of August by 1.5 times, but agricultural damage in the region was less than expected, said Agriculture and Forestry Minister Bekir Pakdemirli. But there had been a number of other reasons that multiplied the damage of natural disasters in the Black Sea region. The Union of Chambers of Turkish Engineers and Architects, TMMOB Architects Chamber Ankara Branch, and TMMOB Civil Engineers Chamber have released written statements on the floods. As long as the intensity of concrete and asphalt increases in the cities, floods and overflows are inevitable, the TMMOB said. The real reason for floods occurring in residential centers is that the most of the falling precipitation flows on the surface as a result of not being able to infiltrate the soil, rather than the amount of rainfall falling on the ground, it stated. Especially in recent years, the main reason for flood disasters is not climate change, but human-induced destruction of nature, wrong water policies and hydroelectric power plants, unplanned urbanization, insufficient infrastructure, and central and local governments surrendering cities to rent-seeking policies. The statement read.
Fox TV's primetime news anchor Fatih Portakal announced through his social media account that he's parting ways with Fox TV on August 24th. Fatih Portakal's sudden decision to end his career just when he was in the limelight caused the public to question the reality behind his decision.
Fatih Portakal, news anchor of Turkey's most watched news program, decided to put an end to his 10-year-long journalism career with Fox TV and retire. In his statement, Fatih Portakal wrote the following: I decided to part my ways with the Fox News, where I have been proudly working for a decade. I only searched for an answer to the question of, what do I want to do? What I needed was to make an internal revolution. Career, fame, and acquisition were dispensable matters. As the statement continued with the future plans regarding peace, serenity, and health, political commentators have concluded that this was a notice of retirement. The retirement inference was verified when Fox TV published an official statement later on August 24th. The statement clarified that our team member Fatih Portakal has reached out to millions from the Fox screens and has majorly contributed for breaking rating records, making history. He has notified our production editor that he decided to leave his duty and retire. Fox News in Turkey is known to be a foremost objective and non-partisan news channel that is neither pro nor anti-government. Along with the owners living outside of Turkey, unlike many media outlets in Turkey, where owners have direct ties with the government and Erdogan. The channel has been targeted by the AKP government before for their opposing and critical reporting that is not in favor of the government. The actual reason behind Fatih Portakal's such decision has brought many questions and speculations to the public's mind, since he was at the peak of his career, being the most watched television news in the nation and having more than 7 million followers on social media. In accordance, the new name to host Fox TV's primetime news has been selected to be Selçuk Tepeli, the former editor-in-chief of Habertürk. As the stances and styles of the two journalists are known to be fairly different, Medyascope editor-in-chief Ruşen Çakır commented the following in his exclusive broadcast on August 25th. The fact that Selçuk Tepeli has been chosen to substitute Fatih Portakal's chair shows us that Fox TV is not opting for primetime news in the manner of Fatih Portakal in the days to come. Frankly, I do not think that Fatih Portakal's enthusiasm, sensation, assertion, and in a way, fierceness can be adopted by Selçuk Tepeli, nor do I think Tepeli would want to adopt such a tone in the first place. Lastly, I doubt that Fox TV's choice of Selçuk Tepeli as the new news anchor to substitute a journalist who is thought to be the most troubled with the AKP government will worry the government anymore.
That's all from This Week in Turkey. See you next Friday at 9 p.m. Good night.